You will hear a lot about the team that's involved, and the team is a big part of Kraken. But I want to talk a little bit about, just to start off here, what Chen touched on in his presentation at the beginning, which is infrastructure. So what he was talking about, with the solar panel rollout, more and more we're seeing mining tied to technology and infrastructure. And that's exciting for a lot of reasons, not least of which because it means big access to funding. And another one of the points that Chen talked about, $4.3 billion allocated last week for buying domestic uranium in the US. I mean, these are phenomenal numbers. We'd seen previously tens of millions for things like lithium and nickel in the US. We saw hundreds of millions of dollars for rare earths, which is a strategic defense metal in the US. Now we're seeing billions for uranium. And I want to tell you a little bit about the Kraken team, about the project, and also how I think this fits into a bigger US uranium strategy. So we're rebooting. The principal project right now for Kraken is Nevada's largest past producing uranium mine. It's a very unique mine. I'll show you in a sec. We like the potential for big size. In my career, I've always found big is always good in projects, whatever you're talking about. We like the potential for big size, and we like the potential for big grade. It has grade that's exceptional for the US and in the world in a lot of cases. And I'll talk about why that kind of fits into that infrastructure strategy and that big funding that we're seeing now. So here's the capital structure. We're a brand new company as of February. $12 million in funding right now to advance the redevelopment of the Apex mine in Nevada. There's the location, central Nevada, so it's one of the emptiest parts of one of the emptiest states in America. And so if you're looking for a place where you would want to potentially build a new uranium processing hub, this is the place to do it. We feel there's a very strong case to be made. Other point of note on Nevada is it has one of the largest land holdings for the Department of Defense. We know the Department of Defense is interested in domestic uranium supply. Again, we're looking at what can be the answer to America's supply. And America needs 50 million pounds a year of uranium supply, 50 million pounds. Right now, there is almost nothing. So there needs to be some creative solutions, some new solutions to where that's going to come from. And that means a lot of things. The amount of money that's coming to bear. The $4.3 billion, it sounds big, but it's not an accident. I mean, that is the amount of money that's needed to refurbish everything in the US, from the mining to the uranium processing to the uranium conversion. And I think this is just the beginning. I mean, when we look at sort of what's needed, there's going to be bigger funding than that coming. And energy is such a priority, having energy close to home, having supply chains close to home. I think this is going to be just the beginning. And this uranium mine is, when we first started looking at it, what caught our potential. So the mine you see there, the crossed hammers, is about 150 meters by 150 meters. That was the biggest uranium production area in Nevada. When you look at the end, this all produced in the 50s. This is all new. Nobody's looked at this in a modern sense. The diamond pit that you see there is 1% uranium. That was discovered right at the end before the mine shut down due to low uranium prices in 1957. When we started doing the numbers on connecting up that zone, that crossed hammers, up to the 1% zone there, and then looking further along, there's at least 2 kilometers of strike length along there that has uranium showings all the way along it. That starts to get big. There's a historic resource estimate of 5 million pounds just where the crossed hammers are. They saw potential for that to increase 5 times, so that would go to 25 million pounds. And when we started saying, well, if that's just in this one small area here, and we're connecting up all these other zones along strike, this starts to get into the potential for something that could be US leading at least, if not world leading, in terms of size. And 1% uranium would be 22 pounds per ton, which at current prices conservatively is about $1,000 per ton rock, which would be some of the most valuable ore being mined anywhere on Earth. So all of that's exciting from a standalone kind of view. Again, good infrastructure. We're 2.5 hours outside of Reno on a paved highway. You turn off and go 15 minutes on a dirt road. There's power, water in the area. But again, nothing too close by. This is a pretty wide open part of the state. What we realized afterward, after looking at it, was that not only was there that couple of kilometers away from the mine with uranium showings, but the structure, the geologic structure that hosts the uranium actually extends for tens of kilometers. So it's an incredibly unique geologic setting. And again, the potential for size was what really, if we're looking at something that's going to underpin the redevelopment of America's uranium sector, we want something big, and something high grade helps a lot too. So in the project, we see both of those things. This is the first, we've just announced this bigger land package as of a couple of weeks ago. So this is going to be the first time we're flying a radiometric survey over it. All of the yellow dots you see there are historic uranium showings. So the potential to have kilometers of uranium showings of potential uranium deposits is something that we're really excited about, and I think it's something that can provide the answers to that uranium supply that America is looking for. Part of the attractiveness with the project, with the unique features of the project, one of the benefits is we've been able to attract a top team to it. So Garrett Ainsworth, who just joined as our chairman, is the former VP Exploration for NextGen. Galen McNamara, former project manager for NextGen. So as Chen alluded to, strong uranium experience. You know, uranium developers from one of the biggest companies in the uranium industry right now. Obviously, going to the US is a bit of a step out for them from Saskatchewan, Canada. But what we're really excited about is sort of taking the same idea. So NextGen was founded on a new concept, a whole new idea in uranium, which resulted in one of the biggest discoveries that the industry has ever seen. And again, we see the same potential here, is taking some new geologic thinking in a proven area like the Athabasca Basin, and potentially proving up something that's going to be one of the most sizable and potentially highest grade deposits in the US. Again, just underscoring the history of this. This is all early days for looking at the redevelopment of the mine, but looking back to the 50s, this mine was a really big deal. People called it the uranium mine in continental United States. The grade is good. The past production grade's 0.25%, which is good for the US. Again, the thing we're really excited about is some of the higher grade zones. So a little bit about the development history, again, underscoring that the 1% zone, the really high grade stuff, was discovered right before the mine shut down due to low uranium prices. Past producing mine, we've got the infrastructure there. These drill holes were amongst some of the best that I've seen for US projects, and particularly when you get up into the 0.5%. These are going to be the areas we'll be testing with the first drilling, which we expect in Q3. And this will be the first time this project's been drilled in the better part of 50 years. The potential for high grade, so 0.7% in bulk samples, up to 3% reported from some of the assays. There's even some reports of higher grade than that. So it's a very unique beast for the US. And again, if we're looking for something that's going to be the answer to where is all of this uranium going to come from, what's going to underpin the development of a whole new uranium producing district, including milling and potentially feeding conversion, this is what you need. You need size and you need grade. And then the other unique thing about this project is the associated metals. So again, totally different geology than what we see at the majority of US uranium deposits. This has gold, silver, and copper all associated directly with the uranium. So before it was a uranium mine in the 50s, it was a silver mine in the 30s, and it produced at 7,300 grams per ton silver, samples running up to 15 grams per ton gold, and bornite reported associated high-grade copper with the uranium. So that's all stuff that we're really excited about too, because if we can use the economics of those other metals to support the development of uranium, again, that brings down your cost, and that makes it all the more profitable to produce. So these are all, again, things that we want to look at, and again, just early days for the company. So low valuation compared to the U.S. producers tend to trade at a higher valuation in general than the rest of the uranium space, mostly in recognition of the fact that there is this massive push for domestic U.S. supply and all of the funding that's coming to bear because of that. So we're at the low end of that U.S. curve right now. Again, the company's brand new and we're just starting out. First drilling will be coming up. But we see as we move this past producing mine up the value chain, we see a good potential for re-rating based on the peers. And I will, yeah, that's the main point, so I'll leave it there. And yeah, thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.